afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Journey of Faith with Pam. I'm not sure where you're at today, but right now it's cold and it is windy. It's pretty miserable here today. Before we get started, I wanted to give a huge hats off to two of our local football teams, high school football teams in our county. One is from Liberty High School out of Bakersfield, and the other is Shafter High. It's actually even the high school for our town. We don't have a high school in the town where I live, so they all go to Shafter High. Liberty won in their division, the state championship. Shafter did not, but those boys played a fantastic game, and I think they certainly deserve some recognition. Saturday night when they played, there was a huge storm that was coming in, and it was nothing more than a mud bath for those fellows. But they did a fantastic job, and I just wanted to give them some sort of credit. Let's get started. I've got a Bible verse for us today. This one is from Matthew 5:10 through 12. And it said, "Blessed those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say unkind things of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." You know, sometimes we think we might be persecuted here in the United States for things that Christians believe in. And I guess to some degree we may be. We may be mocked and made fun of and told, you can't say this, that, or the other. Especially maybe when it comes to Christmas. But we're nothing compared to other countries. And then you have to really sit back and think just how fortunate we are. And for some of the things, and hopefully, and I pray to God, our religious freedoms are never taken this far away from us. The group Open Doors USA figures that there were 360 million Christians last year that lived in countries where persecution was significant. Roughly 5,600 Christians were murdered last year. More than 6,000 were detained or imprisoned, and another 4,000 plus were kidnapped. In addition, more than 5,000 churches and other religious facilities were destroyed. Yes, I know we have vandalism at churches, and we have churches here that are caught fire. And we do have persecution here, but it is nothing like what other countries face. Afghanistan right now replaces North Korea this year as number one on the World Watch List, following the Taliban takeover in August 2021. Christians face certain death if discovered. Much of the Christian population has fled, and the ones who remain are in hiding. How horrible must that be, to know that you could die or that you need to remain in hiding because of your belief in Jesus Christ. Nigeria right now this year has risen to the second place on the list. Judaish violence continues to intensify in the sub-Saharan Africa. 79% of almost 6,000 Christians killed for their faith in the past year were in Nigeria. That's absurd. That is absolutely absurd. Right now, and this was done in June, of this year, 6,500 Christians have been killed in Nigeria. That was as of June, and there's many more since then. That's absurd. With Christian persecution raging in Nigeria, more than 33,000 people have signed a petition imploring President Joe Biden to reinstate the African nation to an important persecution watch list. Now, catch this. The Biden administration removed Nigeria last year from the U.S. State Department countries of particular concern list. Why? Sparking rebuke and concern from prosecution's watch lists last year, President Biden removed Nigeria from a religious persecution watch list. A petition description reads, in the same year, Islamic terrorists, militants, and other extremists killed 4,650 Christians in Nigeria. It is not right for Americans to leave Christians behind. We must stop the killing. The persecution in Nigeria is an outrage. Absolutely an outrage what is going on. There is an individual who on May 12th, she was a student at a Christian college who was brutally murdered on May 12th, and the violent attack was reportedly filmed and shared on social media. How horrific. I can't even imagine living in such conditions. She was killed over a comment that was made on WhatsApp. A messaging app. She was in WhatsApp group that was dedicated to studies at her school. Someone asked her in this group how she got such good scores on tests, and she replied, the answer was because of Jesus. Well, this comment supposedly angered Muslims in the group who reacted negatively and stoned her to death, and then videotaped it, and it was allowed to be placed on social media. I can't even begin to imagine. Just because on a social media app you're going to thank Jesus for your accomplishments, that an individual would be stoned to death. You know, to take Nigeria off the country, this list, the countries of particular concern list, for no apparent reason, seems to be purely political. And unfortunately, Deborah, who was the student who was stoned to death, and others will lose their lives because that pressure was eased. And now Muslims don't have to worry about any sort of retaliation if they go after someone. I can't even imagine such a thing. I just thank God that we live in a country for the most part, we can speak openly and freely about our beliefs in Jesus Christ. And I pray for all of those that are in these countries that they cannot, and that God will intervene and help these individuals out. I just wanted to thank you. I came across that and I found it to be really disturbing, and it kind of tells me I just need to be thankful for where I'm at and for what I do have. And like I say, I'm aware that we have some persecution here, but nothing like there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a blessed day, and bye bye for now.